Hello guys and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be taking a look at a brand new product from a company called Dt8, and this particular smartwatch is called Dt8 Ultra. I don't have to tell you what it is, it's basically just a representation. It's like a clone of a latest Apple Watch. As we can see, the box looks really nice. This is an NFC version, so you can actually connect NFC chip and you can pay. I'm assuming you can pay with this watch. I haven't tried it for myself yet. And we can see that the watch will be using Wear Pro app to connect to your phone. There's not really much on the box itself, apart from one thing. It demonstrates the color of the strap that you've ordered and the size of the watch. Let's unbox it and see what comes in the box for $35 US with a free shipping. Inside of the box, obviously, you'll find the watch itself, a wireless charger, and a hefty manual that comes in 2 languages, English and Chinese. If you have a spare moment to read through, by all means do so, because it will make your life easier in order for you to use the watch comfortably. In good old traditions, first of all, I'll tell you some numbers about this particular watch. The screen is 2 inches across. This is IPS matrix, so there's no AMOLED display here. It has a resolution of 420 by 485 pixels. The battery inside of the watch is 280 milliamp battery. If you use it heavily, but more for like a watch functions, this watch should last for about 5 working days between the charges. If you're going to start using this watch as a phone, so you're going to be ringing people, because obviously there is a microphones dotted around the casing, and obviously then expect your watch to last between, I would probably say, a couple of hours to a day, because it really drains the battery that quickly. The watch comes with IP rating, which is IP68, meaning that you can submerge this watch and you can take it into the shower and swimming pool. It should be just fine. I haven't tried it myself. What we'll do is, if this video is going to get 100 likes, then I'm going to do a full-on destruction test on this watch. I'm going to submerge them in the water for a long period of time. Also, I'm going to freeze them, I'm going to heat them, I'm going to do everything to destroy them to see how much they can actually take. The chipset inside of this watch is RTK8762DK. I don't know what it is, I don't know where this chipset comes from, but one thing I will mention, that you could have really put a better chipset in this watch, because there's a slight lag on the animation, which, you know, they could have done better. If the chip was a bit quicker than that, it would have added up to the overall experience of using this watch. And finally, as I mentioned before, the app that allows you to connect this watch to your phone is Wear Pro, and we will be taking a look at it later on as well. So, quick few words about the build quality of the watch. The strap is nice, it feels really nice, it's got like a powder coating to it. I've gone for an orange color because obviously that's what this watch is all about at the minute. The watch got 3 physical buttons. One on the left is for your physical exercise activities, so that's primarily used. So if you click that, that gives you a menu that pops up with a fitness activities that you can choose. You can also use this physical crown here. It works for rotation as well as the pressing, and the button on the bottom here also works, and that allows you to quickly jump into your multifunction menu. So for instance, if you've got more than one thing open, you can just quickly jump into that, and it also takes you back to the main screen as well. You can see there are many different cutouts for the microphones on the right, and also there are 2 cutouts on the left, despite there's a big grill for the speaker as well. Now, from my tests, I've sort of spotted that the microphones really are only placed around this side on the right, because when you talk to the watch on this side, it picks up a lot more voice than it does, let's say, on this side. So these probably just there for the show, you know, just to copy the actual original watch. The speaker is good enough, it gets loud enough, so you can actually have a decent conversation with someone who is talking to you. However, for listening to the music, that probably won't be good enough, because it doesn't really have any bass whatsoever. Now, at the back of the watch, I can't really make my mind up. I think this could be a ceramic, but this could also be a glass. Definitely not a plastic. There's something different there. Finally, on the clones, we've got the release mechanism for the straps, so therefore the straps will stay nice intact at all the times. Now, if I quickly demonstrate to you the menu, the main menu, so for instance, by scrolling from top to bottom, that takes you into sort of like a quick action. So things like, for instance, your screen brightness, information about the watch. You can put the do not disturb mode. Also, there's like an MP3 player, like a quick access to the MP3 player. Now, this menu goes further, because if you scroll from right to left on here, first 3 droplets, that's there for you to clean your speaker. So it's currently vibrating. I can feel it. You probably can't hear it. But if your watch has been in the water, what you want to do is you want to jump into this menu. You want to click that icon, and it's going to start vibrating, and it's going to like emulate like a low frequency volume, and it should force all the water out from there. So hopefully the IP68 is the real one. You've got your torch. This here, the little icon with the hand and the watch, that's basically just to allow you to wake your watch by just turning your wrist. And also you see that finger there, that allows you to double tap on the screen to wake the screen up. If you don't want that option, obviously just turn it off. SOS, that's just like an emergency call. For instance, if you're in a situation where you need someone else's assistance really quickly, you can set an emergency phone number for that option. And also you've got a mute button just there, which is handy as well. If you scroll from left to right, that gives you a quick access to other options. So the 4 icons that you see at the bottom, those would be the apps that you use the most. Few things to mention on the top. So for instance, first that would be your text messages. So if you click on that, that will give you your recent text messages that came through, or notifications from social medias. But the most important one is the BT call. So for instance, if you want to activate secondary Bluetooth module to make phone calls, to listen to the music from your watch directly, you can just do that, and that will activate the Bluetooth, secondary Bluetooth, but you have to press open. I'm not going to do that just now, because otherwise it's just going to start recording volume, voice from the microphone in the watch itself. So I'm not going to do that just now. Then if you scroll from right to left, that gives you access to your like fitness tracking, heart rate sensors, and all the rest of it. So that's your main like information about, you know, your activities, your things that you know, like calories burned, steps you made, and all the rest of it. If you scroll further, this would be your temperature measurement. Obviously it shows incorrect temperature right now because I've just been holding it in my hand, but the temperature probe is right in the middle. The longer you wear it, the more accurate temperature will become. For heart rate reading, you actually need to have the watch on the wrist. It won't take measurement if it's on the table. It won't take measurement if it's not on the wrist. The heart rate sensor is pretty good. What I like about the next option is the weather. It shows the weather for the next 4 days. It's very easy to read. And the beauty about that is that on several watches before, the information about the weather would not be updated like constantly. It would just be like losing connection. Whereas with this watch, the connection stayed nice and strong, and I get the weather update at all the times without a miss. And finally, you've got your music player, which is very simple. You just play, pause, you can skip your tracks, and that's basically it. Now, if you scroll from bottom to top, that takes you into your main menu. Now, if you don't like this menu style, no problem. Just double click the crown, and it will actually introduce you to the 9 further like menu styles. I'll quickly just jump through those. You can see that's the one with the words. I'll show you the animation just so because lots of people want to know how the animation looks like. You can zoom in. Furthermore, there's another style of menu. There's one like this, if you prefer it like this. You don't have to use the crown, by the way. It's just for me, that just makes life a bit easier. It's like a mega square that you have to scroll from top to bottom. You know, we all have different preferences. So you know, one menu style might be more interesting, more useful for you than for the others. There's another one there. My first complaint would be the font. I think they could have used a better font. The font, I mean, it's readable and everything, but it just doesn't look as nice as some of the other smartwatches. The crown is nice to move. It's got a haptic feedback as well. So whenever you jump from one option to another option, it gives you like a minor vibration, and it's nice vibration. It's not like ugly. Now in the main menu, I'll quickly jump through this, not to bother you. You've got 2 phones there. You've got your phones basically just to dial your numbers. You've got your phone book, so within the app, I'll show you later on, you can add your favorite contacts and you can keep them in a phone book there. This is your text messages and your notifications. These are your physical activities. Once again, I'll scroll through those. There are a number of different activities that you can do with this watch. There is a calculator. A lot of people ask me if there is a calculator in the watch. Yes, there is one. You can take your heart rate measurement, your oxygen rate measurement. Another negative would be the timer and a stopwatch. if you activate the stopwatch or timer, you can't do anything else with the watch. You have to stay on the same screen, and the screen will stay on. It won't go dim or won't turn itself off. You have a sleep tracking. Obviously, keep your watch on the wrist throughout the night, and it will show you when you fell asleep, when you woke up, what was your deep sleep length, and all the rest of it. So that's quite good, and it's pretty accurate as well. These here, it's not really GPS. As long as you went for a physical activity, for instance, for a run, you could go back here and you can actually trace your route, where you ran, how long you ran for, what was your incline, decline, and so and the rest of it. There's a voice assistant. It has to be connected to the phone in order for you to use the voice assistant, but it will use a voice assistant of your phone. So for instance, if it's an Android, it will use a Google Assistant. If it's iPhone, it will obviously use a Siri and so on, but it works pretty well. You can set up an alarm from the watch itself. That's quite handy. There are 2 games pre-installed. There's a puzzle. So for instance, if you've got nothing to do and you're waiting for someone for a long period of time, you can always solve a puzzle, whatever. Another game is called a whack-a-mole. So just mole appears out of the ground, and the key of the game is just to hit the mole, not the bombs. And occasionally you'll get like a clock, an alarm clock that gives you more time. You just keep on hitting them. That's basically all you do in this game. Very simple, very straightforward, but just something to pass the time. You've got torch. You can go back to the home screen. Lots of different options, lots of different things to do throughout here. And if we jump into settings, first of all, I'll show you the languages that are available within the watch itself. There are many different languages. I'm sure you'll find the language of your choice, language of your country. It's all in here. Now, screen on, screen off, different settings. For instance, bedside lamp. I'll show you how that works. So for instance, you connect to the charger. As long as you've got like one of those little docks, so that hides behind the dock, and all you do is you just pop your watch on the charger at night. So for instance, if I was to show you right now, I need to turn that around. So what happens is watch will actually activate this night mode, and your watch will sit like this sideways on your bedside like table. And when you wake up in the middle of the night, you'll be able to see what time it is. Or for instance, if you're going to the toilet, whatever, you'll be able to see the time. But it's not very destructive. It's very dim, so it will not disturb your sleep. The screen time can go to 30 seconds. You can have it like, for instance, I've got it set on 15 seconds, but you can go to 30 seconds, or keep bright. Basically means always on display. Be prepared that your battery will drain a lot quicker that way. Vibration intensity, that's a nice touch. I think it's really good that they've actually added it to the system. So for instance, 1, you can barely feel it. 2, feels a lot stronger. 3, feels like the vibration itself would be able to wake you up in the morning, for instance, for those who don't hear the sounds but you feel vibration, so that's quite good. There are several different ringtones. They are pretty much the same for the messages and ringtone itself. So yeah, and that's basically what it is. What I'll do quickly now is I'll demonstrate to you how the voice sounds like when it comes through the microphone. So how your voice will be heard on the other end of the line, whether that's any good to you or not. Morning guys, so this is representation of how the voice should sound when you're going to be talking to someone on the phone. I'm currently driving, so there's a bit of noise going around, and you can hear how the voices sound. I've got the watch about, I don't know, probably 6-7 inches away from my face. And I'm currently driving a diesel car, so you can hear, how it's going to sound. So it's up to you to make a decision whether that's any good to you or not. So a quick demonstration of Wear Pro. We'll jump into that. We can see on the first page, usual thing. It shows you the calories burned, steps taken, and all the rest of it. So basically your fitness activity information, your recent temperature, and all the rest of it. On the second page, this is your sport mode page. If you're going for a run or you're going for a walk, jump into there. Choose whatever you're going to be doing. So for instance, walking, choose walking, start fitness activity. It will track and trace the area and the streets and the incline and decline, everything that you've taken, everything that you've done, and it will save in that window for you for the future to go back to take a look at it again. If you jump into the device, we'll sync our device right now. First thing I want to show you is just the sheer amount of watch faces available. Yes, the football is on in Qatar at the minute, so obviously you'll have lots of football fan watch faces available. But I'm just going to scroll through, and honestly, it's like an endless, absolutely endless list of watch faces available here. You can go for it's more than 300 watch faces, that's for sure. and the library has been updating for the past week several times, and their watch faces available for like every occasion. Informative watch faces, simple watch faces, creative watch faces, you know, you name it. You'll definitely find a watch face of your choice in here. That's no doubt about that. Second option, you can find your watch if you've lost it. You can also do that the other way around. So for instance, if you've lost your phone, you can use your watch to find your phone. You can use the watch as a remote control to take pictures if there's no one around to help you with that. Tilt to wake, that's basically when you rotate your wrist, and that allows you to lit up the screen. You can toggle it on in here. Incoming calls and text messages, you're going to have to turn it on if you want that information to go through onto your watch. App notifications, you've got all these applications here. If that's not enough for you to receive the notifications from this app, right in the middle here, just click others, and that will allow for absolutely everything to come through. Also, this watch comes with an NFC module inside, so basically, theoretically speaking, you should be able to pay for your goods in the shop. You can't use your normal bank card for it, but you can use PayPal. So for instance, if you use PayPal, you'll be able to use the NFC for payments in the shop. Heart rate monitoring, you can toggle it on and off. You can keep it on at all the times, or just, you know, once or twice a day, whatever you can do. ECG detection, frequent contacts. This is where you're going to be either syncing to watch from your phone, or you're going to be adding contact by contact, depending on what you want. Same goes for the Bluetooth call. If you click on that, that just shows you how to connect the secondary Bluetooth module to use it to make phone calls. And also a firmware update. I think once you'll get your watch, the chances are you're probably going to have to run a firmware update. I mean, mine has been updated, and that's why everything works so well. And you know, there are tons of things and features that have been implemented onto this watch. So yeah, that's what the app looks like, and I think it's a really good app, and it stays well connected to the phone at all the times. Now, a quick summarization of today's video is positives and negatives. There are more positives, trust me, than there are negatives. Positives would be the build quality is fantastic. Everything is made out of metal. The crown is made out of metal, I believe. Yeah, the crown is metal, the buttons are metal, this button is metal, the screen is nice. It's flat, meaning that you will be able to pick up a good screen protector if you wanted to. Yes, it's not bezel-less screen. You still got the bezels, you can see them clear as day. But depending on which sort of watch face you use, you know, you can get away with it. The color scheme is fantastic. I really enjoyed wearing the strap. I think it's a very nice powdered material that sits very nicely on the wrist. It's not too big, it's not too small, because everyone was afraid that it's going to be massive. It's not. It's just a normal everyday watch as well. For the negatives, my complaints would be the font. I'm not quite a huge fan of font that they used to name things. And also the animation could have been smoother, because it is quite choppy. I mean, yes, it's animated and all the rest of it, but it could have been smoother, if you know what I mean. And some of the things are still not there. So for instance, like when you click into your main menu, for instance, just doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel as fluid, you know, as fluid as, for instance, other watches that I've reviewed before. So all in all, it gets 8 out of 10 from me. Like I said, if we get 100 likes on this video, what I'll do is I'll do a full destruction video on this watch, and I'll show you what they behave like in water, what they behave like in freezing temperatures. Like, I'm basically just gonna chuck them in the water and freeze it for like a couple of days, and then gonna chuck it into the oven, see whether they're gonna survive that test or not. So all in all, a good little product. Don't waste your time right now, because it's a Black Friday sale, and also it's coming up to New Year's Eve sale as well. So, you know, you can grab yourself some really good bargains. Like I said, I'll leave a link down below to the official store where I purchased this watch with my own money from as well. Final look at the watch. And at this point, I just want to thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you for staying tuned to this channel. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you still got any questions about this particular product, don't hesitate, comment down below, and I'll do my best to answer your questions as soon as I possibly can. And I'll see you guys in the next video.